Okay, welcome to the finals round, the first match of the finals round between Will Dance for PLEX and Team Jigsaw. For Team Jigsaw, we have 2 Vexor Navy issues, a Vexor, and 2 Navitas.
And on the side of Team Jigsaw, we have 2 Navy Vexors, a Vexor, a Corax, and a Tristan.
Okay, so another Vexor Navy issue mirror matchup. Again, this is going to be a match of logistics versus DPS support. So we're going to see if we're going to be able to have the greater damage output of Team Jigsaw being able to crush out the dual Navitas remote repair logistics of Team Will Dance for PLEX.
I think based on what we've seen so far, the wiser, I mean, we've got the same core ships as we've already discussed, 2 Vexor Navy issues and a Vexor that's been used for the entirety of the tournament to really good success most of the time. But Team Will Dance for PLEX really likes these T1 Logi frigs. We've seen other teams bring in pretty much this exact same thing that Team Jigsaw has brought in. They bring in like a destroyer and a frigate, or 2 destroyers if the points allow. I'm not sure they do. But I think in every instance, these T1 Logi frigs have won out, so I wonder if that trend will continue. Just now getting the countdown in local, 5 seconds until we take off. Should be a huge swarm of drones, and I'll be interested to see who Jigsaw primaries.
Yeah, Will Dance for PLEX did warp in some of their cruisers right on 0. Looks like they're going to rush right into... Okay, wow. So the Navitas are getting primed versus the Vexor Navy issues. So looking to erase that support lead that Team Jigsaw has. The Navitas of Veloism going to half armor immediately, whereas Nyland of Team Jigsaw being primaried right off the bat.
Yeah, and Velocim is catching reps, but he's still taking substantial damage. I really hope he gets out of this Corax range, because I think that's what's doing a lot of the DPS to him. He does a substantial number of Warrior 2s as well. I don't think he's going to live very long, but if they can trade 1 Navitas for the Vexor Navy issue of Nyland, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape.
Velocism is just rushing away. Looks like he's going to be able to mitigate a fair bit of damage because of that. Split damage across Velocism and Silith. However, we have the Vexor from Team Jigsaw put down, so we're down to 2 Vexor issues for Team Jigsaw.
Really interestingly, these Navitas skirted all the way to the edge of the arena. Congratulations to them. They got to 99 kilometers and pulled it back in, so no boundary violations. Really well done. And they're still both alive. They got out from under the damage. Team Will Dance for PLEX has already taken down 1 Vexor Navy issue. They're working on the second now. Shecky is taking damage, and I imagine at this point he's asking these Navitas pilots to get back in to help rep him. And if they do, he might be able to stabilize under the damage coming in from Jigsaw.
Both the nav tests for Geem, Will Dance for PLEX are MWD fit, so they should be able to get in fairly soon here. Whether or not it's going to make a difference for Shecky surviving, Shecky going into high structure right now remains to be seen. But Calgar for Team Jigsaw is going down before Shecky regardless. Okay, both Vexor Navy issues going down. We have a Vexor Navy issue, Vexor 2 Navitas still up for Will Dance for PLEX, and a Vexor Navy issue, Corax Tristan left for Team Jigsaw.
And unfortunately for those Navitas pilots, burning back in to try and save Shecky put them right under the damage of the Team Jigsaw team. And they did perish. Already one of the Navitas is down. Cheat Stuff is still alive in low shields, but they might try and go for him. They might not worry about just 1 Navitas. Meanwhile, Silith is getting primaried on the Will Dance for PLEX team. He is tanking okay right now on what I assume is an ancillary armor repper, and he will be catching reps from Cheech and the Navitas, but they really need to take down this other Vexor Navy issue to make sure that they're nice and comfortable going in the last part of this match.
Yeah, surprisingly, not so one-sided DPS war. It looks like Joe Grain is heroically trying to stay alive long enough to either put down Cheech or Silith. Silith, the Vexor Navy issue of the Will Dance for PLEX, about half armor, whereas Joe Grain is just now looking to start hitting structure. However, again, the DPS race, I'm really surprised that Silith is dying so quickly against the single Vexor Navy issue of the Jigsaw team. Joe Grain's now going to structure. Looks like he's not long for life, whereas Silith is now holding. Looks like the nav test of Cheech is starting to put in some serious work.
Yeah, he did get really low there. That was a surprise. It looked like he was doing okay. I guess his ancillary armor upper ran out of pace. Maybe there were some issues with the Navitas laying down reps. He got alarmingly low, pulled it back. Thankfully, if you're sitting in Will Dance for PLEX comms right now, you were pretty happy, even if that was a 1-for-1 trade. The fact that Sylith survived just makes it that much more convincing of a victory. It was definitely close, though. Really, really good work by those Navitas pilots. That was excellent range management. They didn't boundary violate. They mitigated a lot of damage by burning out. So I think the gold star victory goes to them this match.
Yeah, it's always a really, really big risk going for support such as that. Just completely tunnel visioning onto very fast-moving and pretty difficult to kill Navitus. Both those Navitus, when we had the one Navitus screeching away as he was getting primaried, his Navitus buddies stayed with him, kept him alive for the entire duration. Whereas all the drones were following that Navitus, whereas Team Jigsaw were left trying to either go for him or then swap those drones, which are several tens of kilometers away from all the other DPS cruisers of Team Will Dance for Plex. And it's a really tough decision to make trying to swap primaries at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things with those Navitas that are just kind of incredible, really, and that's sort of been the revelation of this 5v5 setup this year that we didn't really have. Well, I say this year, but we didn't really have as much of in the Spring Cup. Will Dance for Plex has utilized T1 Logi Frigs in I think every single match. I mean, they had the Myrmidon setups before. They have altered it to include Vexor Navy issues once the Myrmidon got banned, and it seems like they've stuck with that. The Myrmidon's consistently been banned against them, but they're just doing it right. I mean, the team comp is obviously solid, but the piloting and the target calling is really spot on. There are a lot of ways that they could be throwing this match, and pretty consistently they have saved people in low structure with those Navitas and gotten really nice trades and DPS holes.
Yes, there's very little margin for error. Even though we've seen battle cruisers on grid, there are no warfare links in this tournament allowed. So these Navitas are completely unaided. All they have is about the 200 or so DPS tank that they can project, with the minimum projection that you're allowed, with only T1 to Tech 2 remote repair modules. So the fact that these guys are able to stay alive versus Vexor Navy issue drones is incredibly impressive on their part.
Yeah, they must have pretty substantial buffer. I mean, even though they are specialized into logistics, they're not given a whole lot to work with in terms of tanking. It's not like these frigates are substantially tankier than other options. So they only have, I believe the Navitas only has 3 low slots, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
And the Inquisitor has 4. You're able to fit like a 400 plate, which is pretty beefy as far as frigates go, but it's still a T1 resist profile, and as you've mentioned, no links. So for them to be able to keep each other alive and mitigate all that drone DPS, plus the Corax, plus the Tristan drones are applying, the Vexor Navy drones are applying, and I think it was a big gamble on the side of Team Jigsaw, a necessary gamble based on how the other matches have gone, but it clearly didn't work out. Those Navitas pilots knew what they were doing and executed. You got anything else about that match, or should we send it back?
Absolutely not. I think we talked about just everything that went on there, so let's send it over to Mangala.
Hi guys, I've just got the bans for the next match. We